Welcome to Angular Material in just 60 minutes, and you are going to learn the Angular Material from scratch to pro, and we are going to do some more advanced features, advanced things with the Angular Material, and obviously we are going to integrate this with Angular and see how things work. But firstly, what is Angular Material? Angular Material is a design components for Angular. This means they have created some of the component which can be directly used in an Angular project. It is based on the material design techniques released by Google, and this is very cool. So Angular material fast and consistent because all the component are already created. They are very fast, and obviously because they are created by the professionals of the Angular material, and we have the versatility. This means you can configure your website in a various theme, and the user can select the theme typography for his experience. That means just like this, you can see we have this. We can change and customize our theme according to ourselves. And let's go and see what actually we are going to create. This is the Angular material website, but here we have seen that we are having a navbar. We will see how we can include the navbar. And as I have told you about the changing the theme, yes, we have this theme button, and if I click here, we have two themes. One is default, which is you can see here, and another is new theme. So if I click on new theme, you can see the theme is changed. That means the color is changed, and also you have noticed that the font is also changed. So let me show you once more. So this is the default, this is the new theme, and the coolest part is that we can refresh this and it is still here. It's not for one time, it's permanent on the user end. And how we have done that? We will store somewhere on the browser, and you will see how we have created this. Along with this, we have this simple h1 tag. You will say h1, it's not looking h1 because we have used the typography and we have defined some of the class on this h1 tag. That's why it's having different font size. And we have this forms, a simple submit form where we have email field. If I click here and click outside, it says, okay, you have to fill this. This is required, similarly with the password. And then this button is disabled because we don't have anything inside. This form is not valid. So let's just give here email ID and password. And as I have typed everything, yes, our button is now enabled. And for this password field, we can click on this icon to convert it to password field, and whatever you want to convert this to. Okay, so what the submit button will actually do, if I click here, okay, we have a spinner, and after that spinner we are getting all these things whatever we have written on this form. Then we can use the ajax technique to send this and create a permanent login. So before starting this course, let me tell you about myself. My name is Sarthak Shrivastava, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe, and you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram so that you will have some of the latest news about this channel and what we are going to use, and you can have a great discussion with others. So let's come back to the course. What we need first to create this course, to have all these things, firstly we need Angular. So to have Angular, what I'm going to do, I will go here and start a new terminal, and here I will simply say ng new and app mat. App mat is just for application for material. Okay, so it is very simple, and if I hit enter, it will download the new Angular project. And if you are not familiar with Angular, I have a 60-minute tutorial, a 60-minute single video where you can learn the Angular from scratch, and you will become a pro in Angular architecture, and you will get all these things, how we can get started and what are the field and what Angular can do on that video. So you will get the link of that video in the description. So let's just wait for this to complete. And now as our Angular project is successfully installed, so let's open this project in the VS Code. So I will open this here, and first thing first, let's open terminal by going to view and integrated terminal of VS Code, and here I will type ng serve and -o. -o is just used to open server indirectly on the browser. So if I hit enter, it will compile each and everything you have on your Angular project, and then it will open that on the localhost 4200. So now you can see it's now completed, and if I now refresh here, yes, we have the new app of Angular. But we don't want all these things, and what we actually going to do, we are going to work with material Angular. So let's go to material.angular.io and hit this get started. So first thing we have to install is this one, npm install save angular material angular cdk. So here on a new terminal, I will say npm install and all these things. So let's hit enter, and while it's installing, you can also install this with yarn, but after that we have to install this animation module. So let's get that and wait for this to complete. So Angular material is installed. Let's install the animation module and hit once more enter, and again wait for this to complete. And now Angular animation is also installed. So let's see the next part. So after this animation, what we have to do next, we have to include any themes. So let's just grab this indigo pink theme, and now we have to put this theme in our source folder, and you can see we have this styles.css. this is a global style.css. so let's save it. And now what the next, for gesture support we need to install these things. So let's grab this and install that. What lots of things we have to include, and then the material icon. And if you want to use the font awesome icon, you have to include the font awesome cdn. So let's just use, and we are going to use the material icon cdn in index.html so that it will be available anywhere on our project. So here we have, and let's go and see everything is all right. Yes, everything is all right. Everything is now set up clearly. But how we will get started with the navbar, as I have explained you in the starting. So let's go to navigation, and you can see now we have this toolbar. To use any component in your Angular project, you just have to go to API. Here on the API, just like we import many things, so if I go to app folder, you will see app.module.ts folder we have. So let's just close everything else, and on the app.module.ts you will see we have this kind of file where we are importing various things, and then we are telling Angular to use that thing by giving imports here also. So we have to import two times, one as a JavaScript import, then as an Angular import. So first thing first, we have to import mat toolbar module. So we can simply use here and mat toolbar module, and here we have, and we have to include this at the top also like this. So is there any error? So let's open this, and no error here. So that's good. So if I now go, no error, everything is working fine. So we have to move forward and see first example, and here is the basic part. You just have to include this kind of thing, mat toolbar. It is very easy. So now go here on, let's open sidebar, and here on app component.html you can see we have all these things which we can see here. Let's delete and paste it. Then you can see we have the toolbar, and this is the way you can include any component inside Angular material project. So we can see we just have this written my app, so we can make this, instead of my app I will say Bitfumes, And now you can see we have this Bitfumes. That's very nice. So let's do something else. So if we want to have some other kind of things, like if you go to examples, we have this kind of things we have written here in the 3 lines they have given, but I want in a single row. So why not use mat toolbar row here? So I will go, and after this I will use mat toolbar row, and let's see how it's going to look. And it's now having in a new row, so why not delete this Bitfumes from here. And yes, so move this as Bitfumes. And now after that I want to use a button which is like, as I have told you, like theme. So this is good, but this button is not what I want. So actually we have to use the material button. Let's see, we have the button and indicators. So go here on the button, and as we have included the toolbar in our Angular module, similarly we have to include module for button, and it is very easy, mat button module. But what I am thinking, that if we have used all of these material components, then is that true our app.module file will just filled with the material things? So why not create some new separate file for our material module imports? So let's create a new file called material.module.ts. So in this file we are actually going to give each and everything we want just for material, and then here, as we have used this toolbar, but we will use this toolbar not here but inside this material.module.ts. so let's import this material.module.ts. so I will say material, simple material from, and then we have to say in the same folder, because these app.module.ts and material.module.ts is on in same folder. So in the same folder we have used, and use here material. And this time you can see it's giving error, because we have told that, hey Angular, just grab this material from this file, but in this material.module.ts we are not actually exporting anything. So what we have to do, if you don't know about that, or if you forgot that, you just have to go to guides, and then you have to go to get started. And as we have seen, and here you will see, yeah, here you can see they have written that if you want to use a separate file, then you can create a separate file and include all these things. So let's just grab this thing and here paste it. So what we have to do, we have to use firstly this ng module, because this time it is giving error for this. So here we have this import part, so let's copy from here, and I don't want this one for now, just ng module, and no these kinds of module. And now I'm calling this export class as material, and that's why here now there is no error. If I change this name material l, I delete, and then you will see we have this error. So let's correct it. And here we have to include mat toolbar module, and this module will help us to have the toolbar we have seen here, but to have this we have to include this at the top. So import mat toolbar module from, we have to say at angular slash material. Okay, and this time, and after including this we have to export this also, because we are going to use this on this file. So that's why we are importing as a JavaScript, then we are importing as a Angular, then we are exporting as a Angular, and then again here we are using that. So by using this kind of system, we can use all the material component in a single file. So this means if I now go, everything works absolutely fine, and this is the way we can use. So let's just move this like this, so that when we include other modules, then there will be no cluttering in the code. So as we have discussed, we have to include this matte button module. So copy that and let's use this, and here I will say matte module, and like this. So it will just suggesting you the path of this to import. So if I hit enter, you can see it's now imported at the top. And again, here also you can use like this kind of system, so that every time you can use just copy from here and make multiple cursor and just import other thing as we want. So here we have done that. So on the app.component.html we have these two, but now we want to use matte hyphen button. So this will make our button as angular material button. You can see it's good, very nice. So this is the way we can use all these buttons and toolbar. But next, as I have told you, I want to use the form fields. So form control, form field, and similarly again we have to include the matte form field module. And you can see its name is very easy. First you have to prefix with matte, then whatever you want to use, we are going to use form field, then matte form field, and at the last module. So now here I will have the multiple cursor, I will give comma, hit enter, paste this, and we are done. So now if I go, and we will see no error, this means we can now use our this kind of things. So instead of this, if we scroll down, we have, as I have showed you, this kind of things. So let's grab from here, go here, and what I'm going to do, I will create a new component. So to create a new component in Angular, you just have to say ng, G for generate, C for component, and now my component name is form. So I will hit enter, it will create the form. If you get this kind of error, what you have to do, you have to say hyphen hyphen module, and then you have to say app, because now we have two modules, material modules and app module. So we have to tell we are going to use this for app module. Okay, so now we have this form, and inside this form component, instead of all these things, I will paste that. And now let's open this form component in our app.component.html. so just after this toolbar, I'm going to give app form component. That's good. It's Chrome, and here we get some kind of error. So let's see the error. It says matte icon not found, because on our form dot component we have used where is that, we have used matte icon, and as we are using this input field here also and matte icon, so we have to include these two fields on our material module. So here give a comma, enter, then matte icon module, then matte input module, both are here. And if I now check on the first node, everything is successful. This means now everything is fine. So if I refresh, no error on the console. We have some error on the console. Browser animation module we have not included, so please include either browser module or nope animation module. So let's import on the app module. We have to import that browser module and grab this. So let's import browser module animation from, again I think that should be angular slash material. Is that true? Yes, no, I think we have to search for that where we have. So let's go to guides. In guides, on the getting started, we have this browser animation from, okay, angular platform browser animation. So angular platform browser animation, all these things are here. Yes, So it is done now. So if I now go to Chrome and on our app mat, no error on the console and everything is absolutely fine. But we want email field, not an amount type thing. So let's go and close these things because we don't need anything. We just want form.component.html. So let's move this field just above this field, and here I have to say firstly that this is not any amount, this is an email placeholder. Then type is also an email, no class, I don't want to give any kind of class, no prefix, no suffix, and that's done. So if I now go, yes, we have email and this. So let's just grab a new submit button here and obviously a form. So here I will create a form, and as we are on Angular, no action part needed, and end this form. And we need a submit button, so button, which is going to be mat button, and type is submit, and I will say here submit. That's good. And yes, we have this. So let's use color. Color is, I'm going to say accent, and yes, we have this. And we can even make this more beautiful by saying matte raised button instead of matte button. So matte raised button. And yes, you can see we have this kind of things. This color is good. And what next we want? We want to have this submit button to submit some kind of things. So what I'm going to do here, firstly I will make these fields required so that we will get that validation part, and red colored, so required. So let's first include any theme. So how we will include theme? So to include any theme, you just have to go again to guide, theming Angular material. You have to make sure that your whole project is inside mat side nav container, or you can give mat app background class to your body tag. So I will open .html. On this body tag I can give a class of mat app background, and let's see, we don't have any color, so let's go to app.component.html and give this a color of primary. So primary color we are giving, so that's nice. And this means we get these kind of things, and yes, everything is cool. So what I'm going to try next, that on this form I will firstly give name field is email, and this having a name of password, and next ng module. So to have two-way binding, we have to use ng module here, which is going to say password. Similarly, we need one for email, so this will be email. And now we have to include the reference variable, template reference variable for our form. So I will say my form is going to be ng form, and on submit, that means like this, on submit event of on submit, we have to say, actually we have to use ng submit here, and when we submit this form we will go to a function called submit. So we have to include this function on our form.component.ts. Why on this one, why not on other form.component.ts? Because we are using this template, and this template is connected to form.component.ts. You can see app form. So here we can create a submit method. So submit, and we can just console.log anything to check. Okay, so go to Chrome. It's having some kind of error. Open console. Yeah, it says many things. Firstly, it says there is no directive with export as to set ng form, because we have not included forms module in our app.module.ts. So let's import forms.module. So comma forms module, and this will give a magic by including this at the top. And this time we are getting this kind of error which says ng module we cannot bind because I am out of mind, because we don't have to use module. What I'm doing? No, it's not ng module, it's ng model. What is that, Sarthak? You have to be careful. Okay, so now you can see we have this, and if I submit this, yeah, you can see the form validation is still working. But along with that, you can see we have this console of ASDF. This means form submit is working. So as I have told you, we don't want to submit this form if these fields are empty. So Angular give you a great part where you can bind any attribute which is disabled attribute, and we will say if not our my form dot valid. So our reference is my form, so I will say my form dot form. This means these things is not a valid one, then make it a disable. So you can see this is now disabled, and if I click here, go out, yes, it is red. Click, go out, red colored. And if I give anything, yes, it is now active. So next part is that when I submit this button, I want a loading part. So again, go to this material Angular. Here you will see we have this progress spinner. Let's grab that, and we know the process. We have to go to API. We have to use mat progress spinner module. So let's go to material.module.ts, and as we have the multiple cursor, yes, we have the multiple cursor? No, we don't have. So let's create the multiple cursor here, give a comma, mat progress, and you can see we are getting the suggestions. So mat progress spinner module, that's great, and let's use this. So grab this from here, and where we want to give, we just want to give it just above the form. And because if I use like this, it will be just at the top corner. So let's move this by giving some stylings here. So style, we will say top having 40% or let's say 30%, then left we will give 45%, and then this is good, but we have to make it position as absolute, and this will make it a floating one, and which is like this. Great, very nice. But I don't want this spinner to be here all the time. I just want this when I submit this button. So I will give here asterisk ng if, and I will say ng if, that should be ng if when weight is true, and we have to create this weight data. So form.component.ts, we will create weight as boolean, and this will be initially false. So this means now we cannot see any spinner here. That's right. And what I am going to do, when I click on this submit button, I want this dot weight to true, and after a time interval, so set time interval, and here I will use arrow function, and after 1 second, that means 1000 millisecond, this dot weight is equal to false. So that's good. So now give anything to activate this submit button, click on submit, and yes, after 1 second it's gone. And now we just want these fields. How we will get these fields? You know, we have referred our form as my form, so why not pass all the form to this submit function, and now we can access here. So I will simply say here form, and now I will say uh, firstly I have to say alert, and inside alert I will use backticks to have email is, and then dollar these things, this dot form. I don't have to use this, there is no variable, it's just a we have passed these value. So form dot value dot email, and then and password is dollar, and these things form dot value dot password. And where these things are coming from, these things are coming from form dot component dot html, and because we have included ng module, not module, ng model. Okay, so be careful Sarthak once again. And here you can see we have this, so I will use this secret submit, and yes, it's working fine. So if I click OK, this spinner is also gone and everything is working fine. So what next part we have remaining? Let me explain you this part, this showing and hiding of these things. So how we will make this? Actually, in this icon we have used at click event, which is just going to make hide variable as true or false. We are binding this type attribute of this input variable. If hide is true, then make it password type, otherwise make it text type. So this is the way we are using just visibility on or off, and this is very nice. And what next we have still remaining? That's the coolest part of changing the theme just by clicking that. So I want drop down menu here, so go to material, and here you will see we have, where is that menu? On the navigation we have this menu, and as we know we have to include mat menu module on our module.ts file. So let's create multiple cursor and then mat menu module, and that's it. And let's use this. So go here and overview code and this one, and what this will do, let's just see here on this toolbar. So why not do one thing? Let me create a new terminal, and here I will create a new component. So ing generate component called toolbar. So I will create a component called toolbar here, and I think I have forgotten to include module of app. Yes, that's nice. Close terminal, and on this module of on this component of toolbar I will firstly give this thing as I have copied, and now I will move this toolbar part from this app component here to this where is that toolbar.component.html. so here we put this, and now move this from here inside mat toolbar row. That's good. And let's just use this app toolbar here, toolbar. Nice. Okay, so everything is working fine. So let's go to Chrome and see what we are getting. Menu. Yes, we are getting to menu, but I don't want this to be from menu, I want this to be from theme. So we have to bind this attribute and not here, instead on theme. So let's delete this button, and that's okay. Mat menu, and we are referencing this variable, and we are using this variable here. So let's use default theme, or simply I will say default, nothing else, and then new, let's say theme. Okay, so that's nice. So what I want, if I click on default, this theme will remain here, but if I click on new theme, I want another theme. But to have another theme, actually we have to create that another theme. So how we will create another theme? On the material guide you will see we have theming your component or theming angular material. So let's go to theming angular material, and here we have where is that, yeah, this one, defining custom theme. So what we are going to do by defining a custom theme. Custom theme is just you have to define these colors on your project. This means the primary, accent, font, background and foreground colors. So you just have to define all these things, then include in the Angular theme. So how we will define a new custom theme? Firstly, we have to create a new CSS file. So create a new file called my theme and .scss, my theme.scss, and here firstly I have to include these things: Angular material theming. So at import, I have to import what? That Angular material theming. Okay, this one I have to include. Then I have to include one more thing which is called mat core, and it's I have to include that, not import. Then mat hyphen core. This is good, but we have to tell Angular that, hey Angular, consider this SCSS file while you are compiling everything. So how we will tell that? To tell Angular about this, we have to go to angular cli.json file, and on this you will see we have styles part here, and let's give another thing which is just my theme.scss. So if I save this, open terminal, and on the first node we have to restart this so that it will compile everything. And while it's compiling, let's see what next we have to do. So after these things, we have to define that colors, as I have told you that these 5 colors. So we have to include firstly primary, accent, font, or whatever you want to give. So you just have to say here on my theme, let's say dollar primary is equal to, we have to say mat palette. So mat palette, and I think we are getting some kind of error. So yes, we are getting this error which says import not found, unreadable at Angular material theming. This is the error maybe you will get, because I am getting this error every time I use new theme. And this error is because we have to include here tilde, which is just going to say that we have to import this thing from node module. And now you can see successfully compiled, and let's now continue defining our primary color. So we have to include this, and let's once more go. And what we have to do, we have to say mat palette and whatever our color name. So here I will say dollar mat hyphen, and we have to say teal. This is the name of the color. But how I know that this is a name on Angular? So for that you have to go to material designing specification, and here color style, you will get all these things, and now you will see we have this teal color. That's nice. So that's why we have used that matte teal as a primary, and then as a accent we are going to use, let's say yellow or whatever color we have here. So maybe not yellow, we have lime, and yeah, we have the yellow. Yeah, that's nice. So yellow is good. So on the button, what color we have used? On the form, color accent. That's nice. And here we are getting some kind of error, and that is because the yellow spelling has to be correct. Okay, so we have defined the basic 2 colors we want for our new theme, and now we have to say my theme, and this is going to be a new theme. So like this, we have to say theme and then matte light theme. So matte light theme, and we have to say here firstly primary, then accent, and like these things you can see we are giving this, and this has to be in the sequence, and then we have to include this theme we have created in our Angular. So I will say my theme, Angular material theme is now this. So this means if I now go to Chrome, and yes, we can see we have our color combination like this, and that's nice. So how we will make these things with this this drop down, and even persist this, because this is good but this is permanent, we cannot go to back to the default one. So I'm going to move this, like if there is a class of theme on any component, then for that component use this theme, otherwise fall back to default one. So because we don't have any dot theme, or there is no class of theme for any component, so that's why we are having this default theme. So let's see how we can move this. So on our app.component.html, what I will do, I will create a div having a class of theme, and now I will move these two inside here. This means now we will get new theme. I think I got the idea. Whenever I change, I just have to remove or include the theme. That's easy. So in Angular, we have to include or remove the theme by binding this with ng class, as we have used on ng submit, like this, and we have to bind this, where is that, with theme. But if we try to use this, then we cannot use this, because this time it's accessing theme not as a string, as a variable, and on our app.module.ts we don't have any theme variable. So let's say if I give theme variable as theme, then it will surely work. But I want this to be dynamic by choosing from this button. That's nice. So I will go to toolbar, and on the click event of, so I will say on click of this button, I will say change theme, and I will pass whatever theme, whatever class I want to put. So I will pass nothing because it is going to be default one, and here on this one, the new theme, I will say theme. Okay, so this means I have to go to toolbar.component.ts, and here I will say change theme. That should be change theme, and it will accept theme. And what is it's going to do, it's going to set theme as whatever the new theme we have given. So theme class is empty for initially, but when we get something, then this dot theme class is equal to whatever we will provide. This is good. So this means if I change to new theme, there is nothing happened, but our theme class variable is now getting the theme as a string. So how we will set this? Actually, there is a great part in Angular that if you want to use child's variable or method from parent, you just have to refer it. So I will say toolbar $toolbar, and now I will refer toolbar dot theme I want to get, but actually it's not theme, toolbar dot theme class, whatever will be the theme class. So on the toolbar.component.ts we are defining, and we are using this on our app.component.html, and that's the cool part. And this means if I now go, if I say new theme, you can see it's now new theme. If I say default, it is now getting the default one. And let me show you like this, and with a color combination, that's nice. But what if I choose new theme, refresh the page? Okay, it is falling back to the default. We just have to use simple part. What I will show you, if I go to this Angular material website, you will see we have this button and we can now change our theme. And if I refresh, yes, we have this new theme, whatever we have given. How they have done this? So if I now open Chrome Dev Tool, on the application part, you will see we have this local storage. On this local storage, for particular this website, you can see we have all these color combination and actually the theme. So if I now change, just keep your eye here, and if I change, yes, you can see it is changed. And even if I delete everything, refresh the page, it is fall back to the default theme. Similarly, we are going to use that application local storage on this app also. So how we will set the local storage? So while we are setting the theme class, we will say local storage dot set item, and item name is class name of theme. A little big, but just a descriptive one, and its value is this dot theme class. Either you want to give this or simply directly you can say theme, whatever we are getting on this function. So that's good, and the important part, it has to be string. Okay, and this is good. If I go here, refresh and create a new theme, and this time we are having on the local storage class name of theme, which is theme. Okay, so this is good, but even if I refresh, it's falling back to the default theme, not to this theme. So it is very simple. We just have to say theme class is actually local storage dot get item, and item name is the long one, class name of theme, and we have to make sure that theme has a identical spelling, and this means, and you can see it is now changed with a new theme. This means if I change default, yes, it is default, refresh on the default one, that's nice, change to new theme, yeah, very nice, and it is still in a new theme. So after this, let's talk about the typography. So if I now go to my, let me close everything, let's go to this form.component.html. After this spinner, or we can say above form, I will create an h1 tag and I will say login form or login here. That's nice. Okay, so if I now go and check, yes, we have this login here, and everything else is still working as it was. But you can see that here this login here is actually not getting the font which other fields already have. It's just a Times New Roman, I think. So if you are not familiar with this, let me tell you about typographic thing. So again, go to material.angular.io. On the guides, you will see using Angular materials typography. So there are various type of typographic things. This means if you give display 4, it will give very large text, and similarly 3, 2, 1 becoming smaller, and title, headlines, subtitle 2, other things are here. But obviously to include these things, we firstly need to include this font link tag in our project. So go and on the index.html, just after material icon, I will include this Roboto font family. So now go and let's try this. It's still not working as we have expected. That is because, again, if you go and just after here, you can see we have to include this matte typography class for the sections where we want to include the material typographic part. So let's now again go here on our app.component, the main component, app.component.html, and you can see we are giving this class, and now we have to give a permanent class which is just matte typography. This means if I now go, you can see it's now having the core font family and it is looking pretty awesome. So that's not the end of typographic things. Let me show you one more thing. If I now go to form.component and if I give a class of matte display 4, and then you will see it's now becoming too big. Similarly, if I give here body 2 and go, and you can see it's now becoming smaller. So all these things which is written here you can use for your typographic things. But again, there is something more on the material. You can see we have created this system that we can change the default theme for particular user. Why not do the same thing with typography? What we have to do, again, we have to define our own typography. So why not do that by just including all these things? So just we have to give matte typography config and then provide the font family, the headline and the body 1, all these things, and then we are ready to go. So let's go to our mytheme.scss. On this file we can create our typography. So I will comment out here and say typography and simply create a new variable called typo and typo like this, and here we have to provide all these things we have seen here. So typography, so firstly matte typography config, and in this configuration we have to provide firstly the font family, and remember font family has to be inside the single quotes or double quotes, whatever you want to give. So I will say mono space as we have here, and roboto is the default one, so I'm just use mono space. Okay, then after that let's use headline, and headline has to be like matte typography level. So matte typography hyphen level, and we have to provide the level, so 32 pixel the font size, then 48 pixel of line height, and the last one we have to give the how much bold it has to be. Okay, so font weight type things. Then let's use the same technique to create body 2 or body 1. Let's say body 1 and provide this 16, and this one I think 32, and this is 5 only. Okay, 24 maybe this one. So we have done this typography we have defined, but where we are going to use this typography? It's very easy. On the core, include matte core. So if I now copy this, paste it here, and obviously this has to be after this, so that code have these things first and then we provide here. Okay, so let's now go to Chrome, and here you can see we are having the monospace font included, but this is permanent. If we change the theme, yes, theme is changing but not the typography. How we will do that? It's again the same part. We have to include this matte core part inside dot theme class. So whenever we change the theme, that means giving this dot theme class, then it will include this theme and this matte core also. So this means you can see the default one is like this. If I change to new theme, even that is changing, and here we have defined body 2. So let's define body 2 here also, or we can change it to body 1, and here we have, and on the default it is looking like this, like this, like this. So maybe if we try to move this little big, so maybe 20 pixel, and how about that? Yes, it is quite readable now and compared to the last one. And this is the way you can play with all these things and create your own customized material, front end UI, or whatever you want to say. And these are the things you can play with. Okay, so if you have any doubt, feel free to comment me, message me. So if you want to support Bitfumes, just go to patreon.com/bitfumes, and here you can donate even $1 a month, just $1 a month, to support this channel, because I want to give you more and more good quality video, and for that I need your support. So just go and become patron so that you will get the cool videos later, and don't forget to subscribe, like Bitfumes on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We will meet in the next episode. Till then, goodbye. So here is the bonus section for you guys, because you have probably new to the VS Code and you will ask me what theme I have used. So first, the theme I have used, and you can see I can switch between these two just by pressing Command Shift E to come back to this Explorer, or Command Shift X to come back to the extensions. And if you are on Windows, you have to press Control Shift and other keys. So I have installed the material theme, but you can see this is not a material theme. I have actually Monocoy dimmed theme. This theme I have used. I have material theme. Material theme is also very nice, and one more theme is which is slime. So these are the themes you can play with, but I'm going to use this. Okay, so this one is good, but if I say here H2 and hit enter, and if I try to make this, instead of H2 I will say H3, you can see I will change on one side, it will autocomplete on another side. This feature I have done with where is that, I think auto rename. This one, auto rename extension, you can download auto rename and make sure the icon is tag like this. And obviously we have some more things, which is auto closing. This is again auto closing. This means one, if I say like H2 and close, and it will auto complete the closing part of that particular tag. So this is again useful for you, maybe because this is the episode we have used many component like this. Okay, so after that we have done auto closing tag, auto rename tag, and HTML tag wrapper. This is a great tag wrapper which is just going to show you which is the next closing tag or the opening tag. So if I click here, you can see it's highlighting the opening tag. If I click here, it's highlighting the closing tag, just like here on every tag it is here. So these are the some cool VS tricks I have explained to you, and I think you can play along with VS Code and have fun, guys.